More pleasant brush aside of Arnett Gardens, Vere was washed away by Waterhouse, and stay tuned for the craziest own goal you will ever see. But we start one place and one place only, and that's at the Anthony Spalding Complex, where the defending champs had a struggle. This is Match Week 18 Review Show. Yes, people, welcome back to Jump Hill Fan. We have much report on Match Week 18, so without further ado, let's just start right away as promised at the Anthony Spalding Complex, where Cavalier was playing against Racing United. In terms of the starting lineup, Cavalier made one major change really, and that's at right back. Alexander Gooden was out and Damani Miller was in. As for Racing, there are a few changes of their own. Javon Cole was back in the starting lineup up in attack. Rivaldo Walters got a chance at right back. And the biggest news of them all was that Captain Markovich Brown was once again fit again to start and lead the team. Now, in the preview leading up to this match, I dared Racing to come out and give us a positive start for once and go at Cavalier, and they did just that. Basically, the first 15 minutes was all the men in yellow and blue as they took control of the game and basically pinned down Cavalier in their own half. They only created one major chance in that spell though, and that's when the ball came down on the left hand side for Richardson, who did well to cut it back and then fire a shot from his right, but completely missed the target. But it was a warning shot from Racing United. Now, normally when you're pinned back like this, you look to your special players to try to conjure up something out of nowhere, and Busy Atkinson was trying his best. So it was a real darn shame what would happen next in the 24th minute. A small coming together between Atkinson and Brown saw both players went down, and while Brown was able to get up on his own, Atkinson had to be substituted with what seemed to be a major injury once again. Now my heart sank for the player once more because he just came back from another spell on the sidelines due to injury, and this seemed to happen at the worst time possible with the national call-ups happening any day now. So it's really unfortunate, and we hope it's not too serious to see him on the pitch again. That distraction seemed to hurt Cavalier in the long run, as moments later, Richardson again come down the left hand side and tried to cut in into midfield. He was contested by Adrian Reed, but a lucky deflection found his way in the path of Tajay Grant, who steadied himself before firing a good near post shot with his right foot. 1-0 to Racing, I could say, on the balance of play, they deserved it. You would expect that would wake up Cavalier a bit, but it never really materialized as Racing again kind of controlled more of the possession. We had to wait roughly to the 40th minute to see Cavalier really have a good spell of pressure of their own, and was now finally going at Racing in that final third. But they never really tested homes in goal, and the first half would come to an end with Racing leading 1-0. Second half, we kind of see the same pattern of what we said largely in the first half. Racing kind of had more of the ball, while Cavalier was looking to rely more on their direct long passes to try to get something going for them going forward. There wasn't really much happening in both final third, as most of the battles were in midfield, but there was a special battle between Biggs and Ainsworth, where Biggs on one or two occasions got the inside step on the youngster, but only managed to saw some of his shots go into the arms of Bartlett. So at this point, you could say Racing is controlling the game, but with only one goal in their pocket, there was always a chance Cavalier to find something. Cavalier made some changes to go in attacking mode. Although the pattern of play, it didn't seem likely. None of Cavalier players were really sticking, and most of their passes were just simply breaking down. But they do have a knack, as I've been saying all week, of finding a goal out of nowhere. From a simple corner, the ball was floated in. Racing failed to deal with it properly, and it landed at the feet of King, who rifles a rasping shot past Holmes into the back of the net. 1-1, and of course the captain come to the rescue of Cavalier once again. Now at this point, you can expect the champs to really take over the game with all the momentum on their side to go ahead and find a winner, but again that never really materialized. Cavalier was still looking lost in attack and didn't really conjure up any major chances after that, while Racing seemed more likely of the two to try and find a winner. Especially in the final moments of the game, they dominated the ball but still couldn't really find anything on the counter to get their winning goal. You could say all in all, it was deserved that the game ended 1-1. So it wasn't the prettiest game ever seen in a Monday night, but how was it in terms of stats? Cavalier's strong second half saw them have 51% of possession compared to Racing's 49%. Cavalier only managed 3 total shots all game though, which is really poor compared to Racing's 10 total shots. Only 1 shot on target for Cavalier, of course the equalizer, and Racing managed to have 3 shots on target. Cavalier had 58 dangerous attacks compared to Racing 62, 2 corners to Cavalier and they scored from one of those, and 4 corners to Racing. Alright, so based on those stats and probably the eye test, Maybe you could say Racing edged it and deserve the 3 points, but they just have to kill off teams when they have the advantage. While Cavalier, they just never seemed that they were coming to the races tonight. They just never seemed their usual self, and of course losing BZ Atkinson when they didn't help matters either. I agree with Rule of Speed that I wouldn't worry just yet, but there are definitely some cracks in their armor. Anyway, once again it finishes Cavalier 1, Racing United 1. Now we move on to the Monday night curtain raiser, and it was Molynes United playing host to Montego Bay United. In terms of the starting lineup, Molynes was virtually unchanged, with the only main difference was that Captain Sardrina Frankson was back in the team after serving suspension. While Montego Bay had some changes, of course, there is no Brian Brown, but it was good to see Chanel Thomas back in the attack along with Demar Phillips in midfield. Now, the main thing I noticed at the beginning of the game is that Montego Bay set up in a 3-5-2 system to basically try to utilize the width against Molynes United. And in the early proceedings, you could say it was working. You could see that they were dragging the Molynes back line and stretching them apart. But the real first half chance of the game actually fell to young Devon Davis of Molynes, but his left-footed shot ricocheted out for safety. MoBay will come down on the other end, and as I said to you, they were using the overlap of Hospitales on the left, especially to create some chances. His shot here was parried onto the post, and the rebound fell neatly to Jordan Fletcher, who would somehow sky it over the bar. MoBay would still come again after that, creating another good chance again down that left-hand side through Hospitales, but this time he took a shot at the near post, and Darren Dene side out for a corner. MoBay dominated the ball at this point, but Molynes were watchful and was looking to spring their counters, and Tyree Wilson got a decent opening, but should have done better to really test the keeper. The game kind of dragged on a bit. It wasn't much going on both ends, but MoBay did create one more major chance. Again from the left hand side, the ball was floated in, and once again they couldn't find the shot on target. Second half though is a whole different story. Immediately MoBay would take the lead. Now look at this nice turn here on the touchline by Chanel Thomas that left his defender for dead, but he still had a lot of work to do, and after some good twinkle toe moves, he managed to get past the defender, plays that square into the 6-yard box, and Jordan Fletcher at the near post with a deft touch saw it curl over the net on his goal line and into the back of the net. It was a good goal, a good finish by Fletcher, but all the plaudits just have to go to Chanel Thomas on that one. 1-0 and MoBay are now cooking. They will come with the waves of attack at Molynes again as they look to get a 1-2 punch, and they will find in the 52nd minute from another low cross in the box. This time it came from the right hand side as Philip did well to wrap his foot around it to get the ball in the 6-yard box, and Chanel Thomas, who was a provider for the first goal, was on hand to get his first of the game. 2-0 and MoBay already seem like they're in cruise control. But credit to Jermaine Thomas, he decided to he's not gonna give up the fight so easy. He made a trio of changes that saw Golding come in, Livingston, and of course Jason Wright onto the pitch. Almost immediately after that, it almost worked with a charm to get Molynes back in the game. A cross loaded into the box, saw Jason Wright try to pluck it out of the air with a volley that was saved by Enel, but the rebound fell to McGregor, who nodded into the goal, but lucky for MoBay, the flag was up. Offside, I was disappointed from Molynes, who were trying to get back one in the game. That didn't discourage them too much though. They came back right after that and tried to get another one. This time the ball was floated to the back post. Livingston ran onto it and got the shot on target, but Shane Nish did one of the craziest clearances you will ever see when he hit it against his own crossbar and over safety. You will see one of the craziest own goals later in the show, but that one would have certainly matched it. That was the last great chance for Molynes, as despite their controlling of the final 15 minutes, MoBay hung on for a 2-0 win. So MoBay wasn't at their best, but they got the job done. How was the game in terms of stats? Well, Molynes managed 44% of possession compared to MoBay's 56%. Molynes outshot MoBay 9-5, but both teams were on parity when it came to shots on target. Molynes managed 53 dangerous attacks compared to MoBay's 39 dangerous attacks. Molynes had 4 corners compared to 3 for Montego Bay. So yeah, as you can see on the stats, if Molynes took their chances a bit better and probably, defended a bit better right out of the tunnel in the second half, they may have gotten some out of it. That should give them a bit of confidence going into the other games against lesser teams, but they lost this one here, but at least they put up a fight. While MoBay, they weren't at the fluent best without Brian Brown, of course, but Zapata should be happy that they switched information, and despite not playing their best, they still walk away with 3 points. It finishes Molynes 0, Montego Bay 2. So for our next game, we are staying in Kingston as we go to a windy Stadium East, but Tivoli Gardens was hosting strugglers Dunbeholden. In terms of the lineup for Tivoli, they made one major change as Nathan Thomas was on the bench due to a small knock, which sees Horatio Morgan come back into the squad. Of course, there's still no Anthony Nelson, so Lennox Russell will lead the line once again. As for Dunbeholden, this is the first squad under returning coach Earl Thomas, and the major change he made is that he brought back a traditional number 9. DeAndre Thomas was back in the squad after missing some weeks. Nicholas Lawrence was in the squad after coming from MoBay. I'll get a better look on number 10, Malachi Douglas. Now, when the game started, I'm not sure we should blame the every win, but both teams just have a hard time getting the ball on the carpet and keeping control of it. In fact, Dunbeholden even coughed up an early chance for Tivoli when they just gave the ball right away in the front of the 18-yard box, but Fuller's shot was safely over the bar. That was basically the best we will see for the next 20 minutes as both teams really struggled to really play some good football. But there ended up being one special moment when Dunbeholden did some good combination play to let loose one of their players in the box on the right hand side, and despite getting this shot past Houghton, he couldn't get it past the post, and Tivoli survived an early scare. But Tivoli really still never come to the party just yet. We had to wait all the way to roughly the 39 to 48 minutes. They finally had some good pressure on Dunbeholden, especially right here where Malik Cockins did some good running into the box, got his square off, and before he could find a man in tangerine and black, it found Watkins, who stuck out a leg but saw the ball went towards his own goal, and luckily for him, it crashed off the bar. Fuller couldn't finish off the rebound, and now it was Dunbeholden's turn to survive a major scare. So the halftime whistle will come after that at 0-0. Now, after the second half, Tivoli came out of the tunnels with much more purpose, much more running, and finally saw their trademark pressing come into action. They were still not necessarily causing any major chances or danger to Dunbeholden goal, but at least they had more pep in their step. The constant closing down of their players in midfield started Dunbeholden got less and less chances to go forward, as Tivoli was now carving out majority of their chances from set pieces. Dunbeholden had one or two close calls, but the ball would just not fall in to the back of the net for Tivoli Gardens. None came closer than this one here. A ball floated in. Hunter made a big blunder when he came to claim it. The ball was going to drop right into the goal, but Watkins was there to clear it on the line. This was a precursor to him having one of the craziest days a defender could have. Because moments later, right after that, he was given the ball at the top of the 80-yard box. Fuller basically ran 20 yards to close him down, got the ricochet in his spot. Now facing one-on-one in Hamilton, he hit his shot straight to the goalkeeper's gloves and saw the ball part for safety. A big chance went missing for Tivoli's number 7. So as the clock winded down, it would seem that Dunbeholden was going to ride their luck into a 0-0 draw. But it seemed God was on the side of Tivoli. When Watkins was facing his own keeper, he did this. I was speechless in the stadium when I saw it live, and I'm still speechless now. Some say he was trying to clear the ball, while some said he was trying to lob a pass back to his keeper. Either way, he picked up by the wind and went to the back of the net. 1-0 to Tivoli and a big stroke of luck. That goal though gave them the confidence to keep going, pressing forward to try to get a second, and some of the chances narrowly missed in before finally finishing off Dunbeholden for good. Cockins coming down the right hand side once again before laying it off in the box to Steve Clark, who tucked it away to give Tivoli on the ceiling 2-0 lead near the end of the game. It won't take long after that for the whistle to be blown, and Tivoli ran out to Stadium East with, some will say, a lucky 2-0 win. So in the end, it was a crazy game, but how was it in terms of stats? Well, Tivoli managed to have 55% of the possession compared to 45% from Dunbeholden. Tivoli managed 8 total shots in the game compared to only 6 by Dunbeholden. 4 shots were on target by Tivoli compared to 3 by Dunbeholden. 63 dangerous attacks by the men in tangerine and black, and 63 by the men in white and blue. 9 corners to Tivoli, 4 corners to Dunbeholden. So yeah, as I said to you, not the best or most fluent game on grass. It really took a while to really get into some momentum, where Tivoli was finally looking like their usual selves. But of course, without a true number 9, you were wondering where they would get their goal from, but no one would expect it would come like that. As for Dunbeholden, Yeah, that own goal with sting, but they could say they played a fairly decent game, especially in the first half. But as Harold Thomas said after the game, they still have a lot of work to do. Anyway, it finishes Tivoli Gardens 2, Dunbeholden 0. Now we're leaving Kingston, go all the way to Clarendon, where a troubled Vere was taken out and not so informed Waterhouse. As for the lineups, Vere made some changes as they normally do. A debut was given to their new Brazilian player, Rios, as well as Michael Graham, and 16-year-old Sean Layton will be given his first start in a J-play match. As for Waterhouse, they finally give a start to Leonardo Jibberson after he come off the bench so many times recently, as well as Javian Bryan got the nod over Bygrave in that number 9 position. Now, when the game started, Vere actually started fairly brightly as they were looking to give their fans something to shout about after some poor performance at home lately. But it didn't take long before Waterhouse kind of took control of the ball and took control of the game after this great pass by Denard Thomas freed up Martin Davis on the right hand side, and his good powerful shot got past the Vere goalkeeper and into the back of the net. Just like that, Waterhouse are now leading 1-0. It seemed Vere was shell-shocked by that goal, and Waterhouse basically controlled the proceedings for almost the rest of the half. They kept coming and coming at Vere and was simply just lacking that finishing touch to put Vere out of their misery. And with the halftime whistle just about to be blown, Waterhouse was given one more chance just outside the box. Andre Fletcher is the one that decided to take the free kick, and apparently it was a good choice because his low shot somehow got past Vere's keeper and into the back of the net. 2-0, and it was a big goal right at the stroke of half time. This is not what Vere would be expecting, especially after their decent start, and they came out of the halftime tunnel trying to get back a goal very quickly. They stepped up their tempo and had Waterhouse pin back a bit in their own half, but they still couldn't really muster any dangerous threats at Kemar Foster's goal. Waterhouse eventually rode out the storm and then managed to finish off the game for good in the 70th minute when the ball was played down here on the left hand side for Martin Davis, who did well to beat the keeper at his near post and got Waterhouse their third and him himself a birthday brace. 3-0, and the spirits of Vere was basically broken at that point. They did try to come with something to get a consolation after that, but honestly it was all cruise control for Waterhouse as they effectively sealed the game easily on their way to 3 points. So another disappointing result for Vere at home, but how was it in terms of numbers? Well, Vere only managed 39% of the possession compared to 61% by Waterhouse. Vere only managed 4 total shots in the entire game at home compared to, get this, Waterhouse managed 16 total shots in the game. Vere only had 1 shot on target compared to Waterhouse 6 on target, and to be frank, they should have scored 2 or 3 more goals. 33 dangerous attacks for Vere, 64 dangerous attacks for Waterhouse, no corners for Vere in the game, and 9 corners for Firehouse Nation. So yeah, that stat is very telling. Waterhouse, who's been struggling going forward lately, really came at Vere and battered them easily. And if they were clinical, this game could have been very ugly. As for Vere, I honestly run out of explanation of what's going on in Clarendon. I would say they put up a bit more fight in this game than they did last time, but they were still soundly beaten by a better team. So the final result stands as Vere finished United 0, Waterhouse 3. Now we're moving up the road to Everfield for our next game as Humble Lion was playing at home to their Clarendon neighbours, Chapelton Maroons. In terms of the lineup for the home team, Lamar Neal starts his second game after joining from Vere, Clara Clark kept his spot, Dr. James Thomas was out as Stephen Barnett was given his debut in the number 9 position from Portmore. As for the Maroons, the big news is that Gawain Austin was back to take his spot in that centre-back position, Malik Stevens is given the nod up front, Ray Campbell comes into the team, and Javel Ellis was preferred over Levon Williams. Now, when the game started, the Maroons took control very early and kept it for a while. Basically, for the first 10 to 14 minutes was all Maroons as they went at the Lions hoping to get that early goal. The Lions rode out the storm though and eventually found their footing and started to hit back on the Maroons with chances of their own. But both teams were accurate enough in their shooting to get anything past the keepers. Now, Lions of course know this game was crucial for them as they sit at the bottom of the table and they will be given a big boost right at the stroke of half time. Now look at this play right here. Samuels is looking to clear the ball. The Deacon decides to try to pinch him off him. Samuels goes down and the referee is now coming to intervene. No, I'm not exactly sure what happened at this moment. It seemed he was given a yellow card, but it seemed that Dika ran over to the assistant ref and protested a bit too eagerly and then picked up a second yellow card. Of course, 2 yellows matches a red and he was now out of the game. Chapelton, just like that, down to 10 men. Of course, you could imagine what Duki be saying to his team at halftime to take advantage of that. I seem they're trying to execute that right out of the tunnel, because they came at Chapelton as soon as the whistle was blown. They were now coming closer and closer to find their opening goal, as Chapelton was barely hanging on. But it would be a day for the new boy. A ball playing down the right hand channel, Arnett chased after it, but so did Prince Daniel Smith. I was all about who will reach the ball first. Arnett won out in the end, took the shot at the acute angle, and the ball ended up rolling into the empty net to give Humble Lion a crucial goal and a crucial lead. 1-0 for the Lions at home. Chapelton had a brief moment of recovery after this, as they produced one more decent chance to get a goal for themselves, but after that it was all the home team, as they basically controlled the position and really should have probably have a second goal to kill off Chapelton. But they didn't find it, as the whistle eventually would blow, but in the end, 1-0 was enough to give them a massive 3 points and lift them off the bottom of the table. So a very controversial and interesting Clarendon derby, but how was it in terms of stats? Well, Humble Lion had 58% of the possession. Of course, they had a man up, so there's no surprise there. Chapelton had 42. Humble Lion managed 9 total shots in the game, compared to 10 from Chapelton. 3 were on target for the Lions, 3 were on target for the Maroons, 46 dangerous attacks for the Lions, 50 dangerous attacks for the Maroons. 4 corners to Humble Lion, 5 corners to Chapelton. Alright, let me start with the Maroons first. Very disappointing, of course. It seemed that with the way they started, they believed they would eventually win out in this game, but they probably should have done better to take their chances in that opening stanza, and of course avoid a silly red card like what happened to Deacon. As for Humble Lion, crucial win this was. In fact, if you're a Humble Lion fan, I will not even bore you with the analytics of what happened this game, because all that matters right now is the 3 points, and you guys have gotten them. So I'm going to end this right here with the final score of Humble Lions 1, Chapelton Maroons 0. But with the Lions winning, the Stars of the East had to win in Portmore to avoid being the new last team. In terms of the lineup, Portmore were virtually unchanged compared to the team of last week that won in Vere, but we got another good look on new face, Ronaldo Robinson, in the team. As for Harbour View, they gave back a second debut to Anthony Bennett in goal and kept new boys Timor Lewis and Javed George in the lineup. Now, when the game kicked off, you would think that Portmore would have the more confidence and control of the game early, but the Stars of the East actually started much brighter. They were stringing their passes around and were looking to come forward as early as they can. But maybe they were a bit too confident on the ball, as they made an errant mistake in the back that saw Tej Bryan in on goal, and he made no mistake like they did and tucked away and gave Portmore a 1-0 lead out of nowhere. Harbour View did respond briefly after that to try to get an equalizer, but still didn't do enough to get past Williams in goal. But Portmore would take control of the ball on the game after that. It was all the men in white, and Harbour View was simply struggling to hold on to make sure they didn't concede another goal. That only lasted to the 29th minute. Portmore make a striking move up the midfield, then let loose Bryan into the box in the left-hand channel, and he did well to tuck away his second goal of the game. A brace for Bryan in only 30 minutes. 2-0, Portmore leads. After that, Harbour View struggled to keep Portmore away from their box and away from their goal, and could be considered themselves lucky they didn't consider a third before the half. 2-0 at half-time. But Harbour View, of course, seeing their season up in flames, decided to come up with some fight, and they did just that in the first opening minutes of the second half. They came up Portmore with some decent chances and attack, but still couldn't really get anything meaningful on target. Portmore was a bit on the back foot, as Harbour View was trying to take the fight to them to try to get one goal back. But it seemed that they were a bit too overzealous in their attack, as they left a lot of space in behind, and of course that allowed the speedy Bryan to race away in open green grass to find himself one-on-one with Bennett before getting it past him and into the back of the net. A hat-trick for Bryan, and the second player of the JPL season to do so. 3-0, and now Harbour View were now surely done and dusted. In fact, they didn't really put up any more fight after that third goal go in, so there was still time for one more goal for Portmore. The ball floating from the right hand side fell neatly for Stephen Young, who composed himself to slot it home to get himself a rare goal this season. 4-0 for the Sun City boys, and now Harbour View are now really in some deep trouble. The game would blow off not too long after that, and Portmore would get another valuable 3 points here at home. So the final results make it seem easy for Portmore, but how was it in terms of numbers? Alright, so Portmore had 59% of the possession compared to Harbour View's 41. Portmore managed to have 10 total shots in the game compared to only 4 for Harbour View. Portmore had 6 shots on target compared to only 1 by Harbour View, so again you can see what's their main issue. 90 dangerous attacks for Portmore, 79 dangerous attacks for Harbour View. 5 corners to Portmore, 2 corners to the Stars of the East. So let me start with Portmore right here. Junior Gressel was an up-and-coming star, and he deserved all his praise that he got, especially the early part of the season. But people forgot that Tej Bryan, another youngster, was just as good. As for Harbour View, maybe it is now time to really sound the panic alarms. They brought in some decent quality players into the squad. They brought back some players that won them the title a couple of years ago, and so far in 3 games in the window, they don't seem to have helped much. But as my grandmother would say, you know a dead dog when you see one. Anyway, it finishes Portmore 4, Harbour View 0. Now onto our final game, and we'll save the big one for last. It's first place Mount Pleasant taking on second place Arnett Guns. In terms of the lineup for the home team, no surprise that Kimoni Bailey was back in the starting 11, but the real shocker was that 17-year-old Jamari Nolan get the nod in attack. As for Arnett Guns, they made some big changes of their own. Kibani Arabine is finally fit enough to start, with a return to the lineup for defender Alvin Tran, but Zara Gilbert decided to have Shea Smith in the number 9 position instead of having Fabian Reed. No, we're so used to Arnett being the fast team out of the blocks, but Mount Pleasant, being the confident team they are, started the game much faster and got a goal fairly early. The ball was playing around in midfield before McCullough found Edwards with his back towards goal from 30 yards out. Edwards decided to get the ball down on the carpet before firing off a good shot from so far out that somehow eluded Roger Williams and into the back of the net. A big start for Mount Pleasant and a confident one at boot. 1-0 just like that in 3 minutes. Arnett responded very well though and should have found the equalizer. Some good work done the right by Kilson and Shea Smith to lay off the ball in the 6-yard box with Nelson, but somehow he missed the ball and a chance to score against his old club. Mount Pleasant escaped with a big scare. But they would compose themselves a bit after that and should have even find a second of their own. A good ball floated to the back post by Kimoni Bailey, but there was a mix-up between his waiting teammates and they both missed out and getting on the score sheet. This back and forth by both clubs will go on for the rest of the first half. Both of them will end up playing some decent football, but none of them will find the second goal of the game before the halftime whistle. Second half though, Arnett came out swinging. They got a big chance here where Shea Smith got past the last man and got one-on-one with Davis, but only managed to find his legs and not the back of the net to draw the junglist level. And just like we saw in the first half, anytime Arnett come forward, Mount Pleasant will retaliate. They got a good chance here where they float the ball to the back post once again to Bradford, but the bounce seemed to have caused him trouble and he couldn't get his foot onto the ball and into the back of the net. And straight down the pitch after that, Arnett always made him pay for it. A good ball down the right hand channel for substitute Fabian Reed, and while he did well to get his shot on target, it went straight to Davis, who comfortably saved the ball. But Topper knew at this moment that they could not sit on that 1-0 lead forever, and he made some good attacking changes. As Celestine came in for Bradford and Nicholas Nelson replaced Raheem Edwards, and both men would have a part to play in their second goal. The ball coming down here on the left hand side, Nelson pulled the trigger, hit the hard defender, the ball ricocheted into the box, and Celestine took a snapshot that got a nice deflection that ended up going between Roger Williams' legs and into the back of the net. 2-0 and a massive goal from the youngster from Haiti. Arnett did not quite give up though. They would come down the pitch yet again with another decent chance, but still couldn't get it past Shaquan Davis in the back of the net. And with time running out, Mount Pleasant almost found the icing on the cake, but they loved Roger Williams, but the defender got back in time to clear it off the line. But they would not need a third, as the whistle would be blown and Mount Pleasant win this big clash of the top two teams 2-0. So it was a massive win for Mount Pleasant, but how was it in terms of the numbers? Well, Mount Pleasant had 51% of possession compared to 49% by Arnett Gardens. Mount Pleasant managed 11 shots in the entire game compared to 6 for Arnett Gardens. 5 of those 11 were on target for the men in blue, only 2 were on target for the junglers. 54 dangerous attacks for Mount Pleasant, 54 dangerous attacks for Arnett Gardens. 6 corners for Mount Pleasant and 3 corners for Arnett Gardens. Another proof of concept for this type of football project, they simply seem unbeatable, and it seems that it is most likely they will be the one lifting the trophy at the end of the season. Of course, there's a lot more football to be played, but who's going to deny them at this moment? Anyway, it finishes Mount Pleasant 2, Arnett Gardens 0. So that's it for match week 18. I won't go to the table this time as we are already set for a round of matches in a couple of days. So let me just give you a small preview of what's to come on Wednesday and Thursday. Chapelton plays Portmore at 3 p.m. this Wednesday at the Tennis Sporting Complex. Dunbeholden will also face Vere at Dunbeholden Sports Complex at the same time. The Stars of the East Harbour View will be at home at the Harbour View Mini Stadium against Waterhouse, also 3 p.m. this Wednesday. As for the Thursday matches, the Junglers are back in the jungle as they welcome Molynes United at 6:30 p.m. Mount Pleasant will be at home again against another big clash against Cavalier, 3 p.m. at Drax Hall. MoBay are back in comfortable settings at Catherine Hall as they welcome Humble Lion, and Racing United will be at home at Fernita Park against Tivoli Gardens. So there you have it for Match Week 18's review show and a little bit of a preview for Match Week 19. Anyway, please like, subscribe and share. I will look to keep you up to date on all things in the JPL leading up to the final in May. Otherwise, for great JPL content, you're already at the right place. JPL fan. YouTube, big up yourself.